tour of the Mexican border.
Enough is enough.
Hold on to your hats. Tax reform is coming.
We'll be having a big announcement on Wednesday having to do with tax reform.
This is welcome news. They're going to have a dramatic tax cut. I think that's music to people's ears.
An American charity worker wrongly jailed in Egypt for over 3 years is now home thanks to moves by the Trump administration.
We are very happy to have Aya back home.
A victory for President Trump. This is something Donald Trump took a particular personal interest in, and he made it happen.
There is a new airline outrage this morning as an American Airlines employee, not United, is accused of nearly hitting a baby.
You do that to me and I'll knock you flat.
Stay out of this. Come on. Bring it
You try that with me, I'll knock you out. Well, I'm not going to be silly.
You don't know what the story is.
I don't care what the story is. No one's heard a baby.
They forced me to read it.
You should aspire to more than just being alive, though, I feel like, you know. We're having a lot of fun.
There's got to be
We are.
some sort of standard that starts you off at least. We are having a little too much fun, and we get to talk about diet soda later this hour.
Diet soda. If you love diet soda, you may not want to watch this because you're not going to like the end results of this new study. But it's great to have you both here this morning.
Yeah, it's
fun to be here. It's fun.
2 big hours to go on the show, so
Yeah,
we
a lot
hope
of
you're
guests
having a
coming
good
up.
Saturday.
Yeah, and you know, Attorney General Jeff Sessions said enough is enough yesterday. He's been on this very important tour for the Trump administration with the Homeland Security Secretary, telling these 9 sanctuary cities, show compliance with federal immigration laws or else you're going to lose federal funding. And they actually put a deadline on it.
Yeah, they did, and that was really the news out of that because they've been talking about this for months and months, but putting the deadline of June 30th of when they're going to take those funds away. So you've had the DHS Secretary and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. They've been traveling to the border. They went to El Paso the other day, yesterday in San Diego, and here's what Jeff Sessions said while there.
Today, the Department of Justice sent letters to 9 jurisdictions that were identified by the Obama administration as having policies that potentially violate federal law and which receive millions of dollars in federal grants. These jurisdictions have until June 30th to send their legal justifications for why they are not in violation of federal law, and the state of California is one of these jurisdictions. Sanctuary jurisdictions put criminals back on the streets. They help these gangs to refill their ranks and puts innocent life, including the lives of countless law-abiding immigrants, in danger by refusing to share vital information with federal law enforcement. Enough is enough.
Now, whatever your opinion of the administration's policy is, and some may agree and some may disagree with what they're doing here, to your point, we knew what they were going to be doing here. So when you get reactions like the one we had from a California Democrat who fired back at Sessions saying immigration policies based on the principles of white supremacy.
You've got to hear the whole statement.
You start to wonder what's going on. Yeah, Kevin De Leon is his name. He's from California in the state Senate, the leader of the state Senate. It has become abundantly clear that Attorney General Sessions and the Trump administration are basing their law enforcement policies on principles of white supremacy, not American values. Their constant and systematic targeting of diverse cities and states goes beyond constitutional norms and will be challenged at every level. So.
How about sticking to the facts? How about sticking to...
Who does that anymore, Ed?
Come on. The administration is saying we are enforcing the law.
Right.
I mean, think about the case of Kate Steinle out in San Francisco, gunned down from an illegal immigrant who had constantly just been let off the hook several times despite a rap sheet, you know, this long.
Right.
And so what's wrong with enforcing the law? If you're the Senate leader, a political leader out there in California, debate the administration on the facts, on the merits of existing law.
Yeah.
Instead of saying this is about white supremacy, it's ridiculous.
Well, that was the one thing that President Trump ran on the entire campaign is I'm going to bring law and order back to this country. And the big question here, sanctuary cities, do they actually make cities safer, right? Because that's what President Trump said, I think yesterday. The most important part of my job is keeping the American people safe.
Right.
And that is going to be my goal every single day. And so you look at these sanctuary cities, all he's trying to say is let's make sure that people abide by the laws. If they're committing crimes, they do not deserve to be here.
And you can see the list of sanctuary cities that they're targeting in this round, at least, it spans coast to coast, and you'll hear supporters of sanctuary cities say, "Oh, this is all exaggerated. It doesn't even really exist the way the critics claim." And then you look at the map and say, "Well, wait, these are in all the major cities around the country."
Yeah, this was one issue that was getting a lot of attention towards the end of the week. One issue that's getting a lot of attention here this morning, and has a lot of people talking, is about the airlines.
Never ends.
Again, it doesn't. It's a different airline this time. I was watching the video this morning a little bit about this American Airlines flight attendant. Here's a bit of it right now. Accused of hitting, that's right, hitting a mother with a stroller.
I've had people on social media saying, wait a second, how did she even get the stroller on the plane? Because usually you leave it off.
We have about 30 seconds of it. Let's watch it and we'll come back. There are questions. You're right. Here it is.
Hey, bud. You do that to me and I'll knock you flat.
You stay out of that plane.
Get down.
Come on. Bring it
You
up.
try that with a man, I'll knock you out, bro. I'm not going to be silly.
You don't know what the story is.
I don't care what the story is. No one's hurt a baby. You keep looking at me and it shows me it's what you did to that lady.
Just keep it quiet.
Yeah, I can see exactly what you did. Maybe you'll get videotaped too and get all over the news.
Wow.
The news. You see,
well, I like a lot of people also, first of all, are saying on social media, and then I'll let you explain the details, that chivalry is not dead, because that man who's standing up for the woman who was allegedly hit, saying, you do that to me and you're going to get hurt, and we're going to put this on media and we're going to expose you. And so the man who stood up for the woman, he gets accolades this morning.
In
but
many ways,
what really happened? Because a stroller usually is not brought onto the plane.
In many ways analogous to the Egg McMuffin that you made for Abby this morning. No, to be serious about it for a second, I watched the whole thing this morning, and I will say, I'll try to explain it, but there's some open questions even in my mind about what happened. So the woman is waiting to board the plane, and apparently has a young child with her in the stroller. Now, for some reason, she had waited. Usually you would board first, but maybe didn't want to get on right away. Again, this is not clear, but she's outside where you would check the stroller right before getting on the plane.
Right.
They're trying to push her along, apparently. At some point, they force her to get on. There's some sort. Well, it may have been, actually. I don't know. There's some sort of confrontation outside the doors that's not on camera. The stroller, I guess, is yanked away or taken away in some way, shape, or form. She's not happy. You're right. This guy gets up and stands up.
So maybe she's off camera and he's on the plane, that man, watching her. Either because there's a struggle over the stroller just off the plane and
just right to the left of that shot,
so,
you know.
I mean, we don't have every single detail of what went on, but Connell, you help us better understand this video, because you really have to try to put it into context here of the whole picture of what happened. But I think the main point here is traveling in general can be such a hassle, can be a pain. Imagine traveling with children. I mean, I'm one of 7 kids, so I know traveling with a big family, it can be a lot with a baby. No one should be treated with disrespect. And so the question here is, with the flight attendant, why be so combative with one of your travelers? That's not your role.
And American Airlines is acknowledging something went wrong, because if you look at the statement, the actions of our team member captured here do not appear to reflect patience or empathy, 2 values necessary for customer care. In short, we are disappointed by these actions. The American team member has been removed from duty while we immediately investigate this incident. So you can see, yes, they seem to be jumping on it, maybe much quicker than United, but they are still hedging because they don't have all the facts, saying we've taken them off duty, but we're still investigating because we don't know what happened before that snippet of video.
Whatever the case is,
I mean,
you're pointing in someone's face.
Yeah.
Right. The video speaks for itself.
And people are weighing in.
They're weighing in, but we live in a world where when you're traveling on a plane or when you're anywhere, there are cameras wherever you go.
Everywhere.
There are cell phones. Everything can be caught. So if you are running these airlines, you've got to be aware that we live in a new world.
Check
and
out
the way
this
that you're
email.
treated. Yeah, so people are going nuts over this.
Channeling Ed Henry, Beth emailing in. All I have to say is chivalry is not dead. What an awesome passenger to stand up for what is right.
Yeah,
so,
I agree with that one, Beth. This is from Bill, emailed us. Why does anyone expect to be treated with respect by an airline? Cattle cars for humans are all airlines are now. What other industry could treat their paying customers with total disdain and get away with it? I used to fly 250,000 miles a year. Now 99% of my travel is by car. Not worth the hassle.
Wow. Well, speaking of chivalry, you're referring to the fact that I made an English muffin for Abby because she had to go read the headlines. She was working the toaster oven. She said, "Can you take care of this?"
It was a terrific moment.
So I was just stepping up.
That's what goes on behind the scenes when people are watching. How we toast our English muffins. Thank you, though. It was perfectly toasted. I feel so energized now. I've eaten it. It's been great.
Yeah, nothing for me.
Prepared for the diner, Ed.
I'm ready. We're going to be at a diner in Lake Worth, Florida tomorrow, and we're going to be all over the story. And we're going to try to show. I've learned a lot from Abby with all the diner segments.
You got to cook. You got to be friendly.
Expert. All right.
How many times do you think he's going to mention the diner?
I don't know. Let's do some news.
We've got time. I do have some headlines I want to bring you. Starting with a Fox News alert, and more than 100 soldiers and Army personnel have been killed or wounded after terrorist gunmen attack an Afghan military compound. The Taliban is taking responsibility. Those militants stormed the base disguised in Army uniforms. 10 Taliban fighters died. One was captured. The gunfight lasted for hours at a mosque and a dining facility. We'll keep a close eye on that this morning. And we are less than 24 hours away from a pivotal election in France. Far-right candidate